What's up, YouTube? I picked up the Power A Xbox One controller, $35 model. There's no buttons on the back. And I just wanted to give you guys a really honest, accurate review. I want to start off by saying that I've actually only used this controller for 1 week. But that being said, I'll talk about the negatives first, just because I've been pretty impressed with this $35 purchase. The controller is wired. It plugs into the back of your system or on the side, and it is always on, which means that if you're going to leave the room for an extended period of time to cook or take a dump or something like that, it's going to not go to your screensaver on your console. It's going to stay on, so you don't want to do that. The second negative thing about this controller is the rumble can be a little bit strange, especially like when you hold down the power button for a few seconds as if you're going to turn off the console. You'll see what I mean. I'd say probably the third thing that you could try to use against this controller is on the back of the controller. It does have the screw holes, which Microsoft got away from on their own brand name controllers, just because they claimed it to be more comfortable if you didn't have screw holes in the back and you were going to play for a long time. The fourth thing that you may not like about the Power A controller that I didn't like, you can't use Control Freaks. I've got the Control Freak on my Lunar A controller, and what happened is the top of the thumbsticks on the Power A controller is slightly smaller, so the Control Freak does not stay locked in place. It'll go on the thumbstick, but I don't think it'll stay on there for you. And the fifth and final thing that I would say about this controller that you may not like is the L2R2. They tend to be a lot louder than they are on the Xbox One Microsoft controller, but they make a louder click noise compared to that. But I mean, it's $35, and now I'm going to get on to the benefits of this controller. Okay, first of all, obviously the price. You're saving $25. The second thing about this controller is the hand feel. What I mean by that is, how does it feel compared to like when you hold the Microsoft controller? Is it a big change for you? Okay, when you hold the Microsoft controller, it feels great, but it is smaller than the Xbox 360 controller, and it doesn't feel quite as good. So the great thing about the Power A controller is they actually made these handles a little meatier, a little bit thicker. So when you hold the controller, it feels actually a little bit more like the Xbox 360 controller, which I actually prefer. I love it. And the other thing about the hand feel is on this controller, it's plain black up front with a glossed midsection, and on the back you have full texture. As you can see on the camera right there, you have full textured grip all over the back of this controller, and it's not rubberized, but it feels great. It's just way better than a standard Xbox One controller. But this is the Lunar White controller that I have, and it does have the rubber grip, but only on the inside. So the other thing really great about this controller is you don't need batteries because it's wired. And it being a little bit larger, like I just said, when referring to the hand feel, I'm going to add that as another plus, just because it's just better. I mean, it feels like you've got more control in your hand. Now, it does feel quite as high quality, D-pad wise. The D-pad is mushy compared to the Microsoft D-pad, but a lot of us, we don't really use the D-pad much anyway if we're FPS gamers. And the final thing about this stick that this controller I really want to point out that's so great is actually just the thumbsticks themselves. They feel great. They have great accuracy response. The click, the L3, R3 click, they're great. It's a really great controller. I can't say enough good in the end, so I'm going to give the controller Power A basic $35 controller for the Xbox One. So far, after only 1 week, will give it a 9 out of 10. Easy. And with the Lunar White controller having drift in the left thumbstick after 7 months, I'd be happy if this controller lasted me 6 months. So we'll see. I'll do a follow-up review at that point, you know, when it comes down the road, and you know, it's been at least 2 or 3 months and I can say something about it, and I'll post a new review. But until then, I appreciate your likes and your comments and shares, and have fun gaming. I know I will.